Lazav the Multifarious versus Etali Primal Storm. Now, I think that's a very good hand, actually. Let's keep that. And we could actually go in for a turn 3 win if we drop the Wall of Blood. Oh no, Wall of Blood has to be in the graveyard, doesn't it? Yeah, so we'll have to find some means of discarding. Deep Analysis doesn't do it. Let's just get down the Island and the Ancestral Vision. And we can get down the Ornithopter whenever. That's just another means of giving Lazav evasion in the graveyard. Okay, Ancestral Vision has a counter removed. That is over there with 3 counters on. Mystical Tutor goes for a discard effect. Yeah, so we can take a turn off here. And just aim for the Mystical Tutor, so let's get that in tapped. Yeah, and then we can get down Lazav next turn. Then the turn after, go for a Wall of Blood win, or try to. Yeah, so we'll go for that. Just have to hope that we can outrace our opponent, because they are currently ramping up to an Etali. They're struggling on getting any more mana down though, apparently. Alright, that's good, so they miss a land. Here we go, Mystical Tutor into the 1 mana, draw 2, discard 2, that I can't remember the name of, Careful Study I think. Draw 2, discard 2. Which means that we can draw into the Careful Study, play that. And okay, that's good, so we get rid of Wall of Blood and Ornithopter. Then hope that our opponent doesn't have a Lightning Bolt for Lazav, because we are going in for the win next turn. And we'll Surveil when it enters as well. And Entomb we will keep on top. I would like to make use of that potentially. No Lightning Bolt from my opponent. Instead going for a Tormenting Voice, and they do manage to get into that land that they needed. So now they're on 4-5, just 1 mana away from Etali. I would assume they'd want an extra mana to equip the Swiftfoot Boots. But it looks like we're winning this turn. We will pay 3 mana. We might as well get down the Grim Monolith. So let's go for that. Then we pay 3 mana into Lazav, becoming a copy of Wall of Blood. Then just put life into Lazav 21 times. For anyone who doesn't know, the Wall of Blood is pay a life and it gets +1/+1 until the end of the turn. And because our opponent can't do anything in response to all of this, I assume, because they don't have any mana held up, yeah, we just go for 21 life into Lazav, hit our opponent for 21 points of commander damage, and that's the win. Had our opponent gotten off to a faster start, we might have had a more difficult time there, but we had evasion in Ornithopter. All we'd have to do is pump all the life into Lazav, give it 21 damage, or 21 power, and then turn it into an evasive Ornithopter for 0 mana. That would give it flying, and we would swing in for the victory, assuming our opponent didn't have a dragon in the air. Fairly fast one, so we'll try again and see if we have any better luck with a more interactive game. Alright, let's give this another go, this time up against Aminatou the Fateshifter. Windfall to get into, hopefully, a bunch more cards. Yeah, we'll keep that. New addition to the deck from Eldraine as well, the Ginger Brute, a means of haste and unblockable on one mana creature. So let's just go for Shizo, and we'll get down the Ginger Brute. Then we might as well swing in and hit our opponent. Could have saved this play for when we are able to discard it, but I'm assuming that it's going to get wrapped up in some kind of destruction or some kind of board wipe, something like that. And we might have to make use of Windfall here, actually, especially with Phyrexian Devourer. Let's play our commander, just so that we don't have to play it later. This is the type of deck where every turn matters. And we will get a Surveil out of that as well, so it's not like it's a completely dead play. Another land, I think we can go into the bin with that. Then we'll hit our opponent again with the Ginger Brute. Alright, going for Fatal Push onto... Do we want to reanimate? I think I will actually reanimate our commander there because we're going to discard that to Windfall anyway. So let's dump that in the graveyard. And then swinging at our opponent again, see if they can get up to their 3 colours. Now a Wall of Omens. Well, the Ginger Brute's going to come in handy there. This can only be blocked by things with haste, as long as we put 1 mana into it. Okay, and that is a can't be blocked effect as well. So, do we want to Wasteland here? We're going to reanimate our commander, I know that much. And get another Surveil. Brainstorm can stay on top. Let's make sure to change the zones on that. We don't want it going to the bin again. Yeah, might make use of a Wasteland, I think. If our opponent's using things like Fatal Push, I assume it's a fairly competitive player. So let's go after the white mana, because that's more likely to have exile effects. Then we'll get down Slitherblade as well. And also, the more difficult our opponents find in their mana, the more effective a Windfall is because they can't actually play cards. Let's go for a Brainstorm instead of the Windfall. I think we've got some time here. Okay, Chrome Mox. Let's put the Deep Analysis and the Phyrexian Devourer on top, and then we will mill ourselves with Glimpse the Unthinkable. So now we've got that Phyrexian Devourer, which is a combo piece in the bin. We've got the Deep Analysis. Yeah, we cleared a whole bunch of nothing off the top there, really, so I'm glad I did that. Alright, in that case, let's just do a little bit of damage to our opponent. If they're struggling on lands, then I don't feel too bad about going for this Windfall and maybe getting them back into the game. Okay, Reflecting Pool. Still don't have their white mana. Oh, and then a Hymn to Torak. Yeah, that's really not good for us. So in that case, let's go Deep Analysis. We'll draw 2 and lose 2. And more lands we've cleared off the top. And we don't have a swamp in play, do we? So let's get down the Drowned Catacomb. Oh no, it cares about islands as well, doesn't it? Yeah, I forgot about that, so that does come in untapped. So let's go Viscera Seer. Then we can sacrifice the Slitherblade and clear another land off the top. That goes on the bottom. Then we'll make Lazav an unblockable Slitherblade, and then just continue to chip away at our opponent. Highly doubt 1 commander damage is going to matter, but you never know. Yeah, I really didn't expect a discard effect from our opponent. Would really have liked to have gone for that Windfall, but our opponent obviously didn't know that it was in our hand. I'm sure they would have liked us to have gone for it as well, because they are not getting into lands. And they decide to scoop it up to that. Let's see, I was going to scry on the Ginger Brute at the upkeep there, so let's, yeah, definitely would have scried that to the bottom, which means we would have, of course, drawn into another land, so all of our lands on top of the library. Yeah, we milled a bunch of them with Glimpse the Unthinkable, and then drew into about 3 or 4 in a row. Yeah, so eventually getting to Demonic Tutor, and that might have helped us getting into a Buried Alive and setting up a combo with Phyrexian Devourer, but a much, much slower game that time, and completely kept in by my Spiky Wasteland. So, hopefully, 3rd time's a charm. Let's try again. Alright, back to the original player that we played against in this video, Etali Primal Storm. And this time we're not doing so well on mana. Let's get rid of that. I'd like at least 2 lands. Okay, and then we draw into nothing but. Let's get rid of... Yeah, we'll get rid of an island, because we can pull another land out of the library with Marsh Flats. And then because we've got 2 basics in hand, I'm not going to go for the duel that cares about basic lands. We'll get things started off with a Watery Grave intapped. And it might just be a case of slowly getting up to Traumatize. And hoping that that gets us into a combo, this will mill half of our library. A Wall of Souls is only useful if a big creature swings in at us. Let's go for a swamp into our commander. Haven't seen any fast mana from our opponent yet, which is good. Demonic Tutor is definitely going on top, because we can set up something like I said in the last game, something like Buried Alive. And there is the Demonic Tutor. Let's go in for that. Our opponent's gotten down some haste, but again, no Moxies or Soul Rings or Monoliths. So I fancy our odds quite nicely here. Going for Buried Alive. Then let's get down that tap land I was referring to before. Now we don't have to worry about drawing into that later when we're desperate for an additional mana. Swing in with Lazav and hit our opponent for 1 point of commander damage. And now that we're on 4 mana, I think it's alright for us to go for a Necrotic Ooze combo, so let's set that up. Necrotic Ooze, Triskelion, and Phyrexian Devourer. Let's also go for a Slither Blade. Just use that as a blocker if needs be. And then swing in for another point of commander damage. Yeah, so Necrotic Ooze, when Lazav becomes a copy of it, Lazav will have activated abilities of all creatures in our graveyard, so we can go infinite with Phyrexian Devourer and the Triskelion, which hopefully I will be showing you. Well, not next turn I won't, because out comes Chandra. Luckily for us, she can't mine us down again, so we can just replay our Lazav here and hope that they don't have more removal for Lazav. And we will get another Surveil. Land can go on top just in case. Yeah, just in case Lazav gets removed again, we need the additional mana. And then it is swinging in at Chandra. So I'm glad I played that Slither Blade last turn. So they definitely can't tick her up and get the minus onto Lazav again for 4 damage. So our opponent needs to do something about our commander here. Well, there's an Etali with haste and shroud thanks to the lightning greaves. They might get removal from our deck. Now I think it's exile with Etali, isn't it? Yeah, so we'll reveal the exile zones. They get an island from us. Oh yeah, of course, we put that island on top, so we knew about that. And then deciding to scoop, so they've obviously seen the combo before. We were drawing into another island. Yeah, not struggling on getting into mana in these games, but where are we? Phyrexian Devourer is exile the top card of your library, put X plus counters on it, where X is the CMC of the exiled card. And then Triskelion can remove a plus counter to deal 1 damage to any target. We just keep exiling cards from the top of our library, putting a bunch of plus counters onto Lazav and then removing them, and dealing a point of damage to our opponent. We can do that at instant speed as long as we've got cards in our library. In a very, very long game, something like Traumatize might actually switch that off because you don't have enough cards in your library, but this is a very fast deck, as we've seen 3 times in a row here, so chances are you're going to be able to get a combo win like that off most of the time, and our opponent obviously saw that. Hope you all enjoyed this one. Please leave a like and a subscribe if you did and you want to see more videos from this channel. I'm tribalkai on the EDH channel. Thank you for watching.